So we're back again in video number 2. All excited. Come on, audience, let's hear a cheer. Moving on. Alright, so what we're moving on to now is transparency. Spelled TRAPNC. Moving on. So we're gonna create another artboard again. What I'm gonna do is reuse one of these things that we've done before to kind of show you how transparency works. So artboard tool over here. And let's create a nice one, you know, smart thingy does the thing for you where it just makes it all nice and stuff. Yeah, and you create a new artboard. Now the cool thing is that you can have like a whole bunch of stuff in one Illustrator document. And after you're done creating that stuff, you just have like a showcase. So it's like, this is some stuff I've done in Illustrator. Bam, bam, bam. Or if somebody says, I'd like to see several logo designs, you don't send them like a million Illustrator files. Just send one with a whole bunch of different. Each of them have their own artboard. Yeah, with Photoshop it's just one thing. Hold on. Orlando is asking a question.
Yes, sir. Sir, you do something in Photoshop, right?
Yes.
I realize that there's no, when you save it, there's no option to save that PNG. So I have to import it into Photoshop.
Yes, sir.
In
No, there's
Illustrator?
Yeah.
Alright, the question Orlando Purple Blood White is asking hey sir, when I'm saving as an Illustrator file, there's no other option but PDF or any other vector-based file. But truth and in fact is, if you want to save as a PNG, you press File, and instead of going to Save As, you choose Export. And then you choose Save As type, and you have PNG there.
It's there. You just don't do the wrong option.
So it's not Save As, it's Export.
Exactly.
It's still there.
But it's not saved.
It's in there.
Well, Orlando asked that good question.
No.
Alright, let's continue. Right, so we're moving on to the whole transparency thing. Now what I'm going to do is, because we've created this thing and you know it's not actually one object, we're going to group it first of all. So highlighting the thing, or all the paths that make up the thing. I'm going to press Ctrl G, or you can simply right click and choose group to make this thing into one object by itself. Right? After which I'm going to duplicate it by holding Alt and just dragging it out of itself and just rotating it a bit. Maybe I wrote it the other way. Yeah. It don't look too bad. Yes. So we have that. Now the transparency thing we're looking at is, you know, in Photoshop where we have masking, right? And in the whole masking bit you have like a black to white thing going on. And you know, black means transparent and white means show or solid. So I want to kind of do something with that. So what I'm going to do over here, on the right side, I have a box. And this box is just white. So I'm going to choose the gradient. And I'm going to set the gradient to be a, not white to white, but a solid black to a white, solid white. Now, here is what we do. We're editing this gradient. I'm just going to put it from black to white or white to black, whichever direction. Something like that. Essentially, what I'm going to do is use this thing as a mask for this object. So here's what we do. We're going to have to move this on top of this, what's wheat germ or something. Now, both paths are on top of each other. See? So you have this thing being the gradient and this one being the wheat germ or whatever. Then I'm highlighting both of them. Yes. Hold on, Mr. Megu is asking a question. To get the skeleton view or the outline view, we press Ctrl Y. It toggles the outline of everything. Essentially, it can be used to see if paths are not closed or if they're closed or anything else that you might need to find out in path. Ctrl Y. You just toggle with Ctrl Y, and that gives you that. Hold on. Gio's asking a question. How do I bevel this? My word. Alright. If you wanted to bevel this thing, if you go in effects, you have some Photoshop effects and stylize, but you have no bevel. Sorry. Get into Photoshop and bevel it. Alright, so let's highlight everything. Everything's highlighted. Then over here in the same gradient, beside it is something that kind of works with it called transparency over here. Right? And what you have to do for this transparency thing is click on this little options bar and it says make opacity mask. Right? And the opacity will be based on black to white. So if I click that, you get something like that. So if we look over here, you see the regular object, then you see the mask. But there's something that can be an issue sometimes. What I found out when I was working is that after you've done this, if you wanted to edit anything, you'll see that nothing is moving at the time. And if you look up here, it says opacity mask. That's because right here I have selected my opacity mask, not the paths. So if I want to edit anything else, I'll have to actually go over here, and then everything else becomes editable because it's not the opacity mask. Right? Now let's say we're comfortable with this thing. We're okay and everything. Right? So we've done the transparency. Let us move on to the 3D. Well, we've done the blending tools already. Oh, blending modes. Excellent, thank you. So blending modes, let me tell you how blending modes works. Just like in Photoshop, you have blending modes. And I'm just going to put this as this is transparency. I'll put this here. So that transparency mask or the opacity mask works. Gives you that. Now, if there be a case where you want to, for instance, for example, for argument's sake, blend one path with another path. Example, I'll still borrow this sweet pea over here and shrink it down. Right now, let's say I wanted to make this thing look nice and cool and stuff. So I'm going to draw a path here, right around it. Something like this. And right now it's bad looking. So I have one stroke. Let me just zoom in so you can see properly. One stroke. Using the same principles we did before. I'll take this thing, carry it over like so. And do something like this. P. Like I have this, right? Looks terrible. Fine. I'm just going to take some colors from this thing. One's that, switching this and that. This I'll take the yellow from the middle. And I'll switch it to a kind of a hue like that. Then I'm going to take this one and the color from down here, which is that, and flip that. So now we have some outlines. And just to note, if you wanted to, for instance, change the stroke of your line, right now it's just a pretty much boring stroke. Actually, I have different brushes. Example, here we have uniform, and this shows you a tapered edge one, where you can actually see that it gets thin, gets thicker. Well, you can't really see it with this size or this stroke, but if we were to increase the size, you can see it starts out thin, gets bigger, carries itself out. But what I'm going to do is just blend these three, bam, bam, and bam. Hideous. So we're going to show you how to do the blending modes and stuff. So let's just check out this thing again. Blend options. We can increase the amount of whatever we see. Yeah, it's gonna look awful. Yes, it's like a thumbprint. It's hideous. So let's change the blending modes. So we have over here on top of, well, this one here, inside the same transparency, I have this majestic looking leaf, hideous, over this thing. What I can do is change the blending mode. For instance, if I use multiply, it's gonna put itself over the other paths in a particular way. If I use screen, you might get something like this. If I choose, for instance, difference, you might get a different kind of look, right? So those are just the blending modes, and that's how you can use them in different ways. Particularly, I haven't found much use for the blending modes in Illustrator because essentially at the end of the day, you kind of want your objects to be simple, so that if somebody wants it, they don't have to be worrying about if their program has blending modes or not. Just provide them with the color that's needed there, and that can work. Because essentially, I guess if you were to do some printing in terms of on a t-shirt or something, the printer might not be able to read, I need to confirm whether this is true or not, blending modes. Might not be able to read blending modes. So you might just get the color that's just there rather than the blending mode. This is right? Am I right? So, huh? It would print what I have on screen, but not so much the blending mode. So without the blending mode, you'd pretty much just get the color that's actually there, but not the effect of the blending mode on the colors. That's there. I don't know. Yeah. It could. Perhaps. Next. Symbols, right. Just keeping the same thing. What was this again? Yeah. Blending mode. Blending modes, yes. Alright, so let's go to the symbol part now. Now, let us say we want a very beautiful meadow of grass. Alright? So let's create another artboard over here. Just a nice meadow of grass type thing here. Right? Because if you want to, you can. Let me just create a blade of grass here. Simple, like a thing like this. Bam. Another leaf like so. That's one blade of grass right there. And then I'm gonna make this green because grass is usually green. Usually. Someone once told me the grass is much greener on the other side. Right, so I'm gonna use the same things that we've been using before. The same blending. No, not blending, sorry. The mesh gradient tool. So I'm gonna create a mesh gradient right here. Just gonna create a line right there. Now, with this mesh gradient, what I'm going to do, zooming in, I kind of like the way this looks, so I'm going to choose this thing here. The same line. I'm going to make it a little darker. And up here, I'm going to make the same line darker as well. But not this one, the other one. One of them darker. Right? What I can then do is I'm going to just take this, probably just going to copy it or do something like this and follow my path. One here, over here, just on top of that, just along the same path there, and I'm going to draw another path just like the other one. Try not to merge them either, because I do not want them merged. So I'm going to move one of the paths and back to our same little line here. Move this over, and I move it back when I'm done. So I have this, and trying to contour it to the same shape we had there. And this is right now just a path. Make it a little brighter. Colors white or like breeze. And then I'm going to come over here and move this over. Now what I'm going to do is using the same blending tool. One line, next line. Right now you're only seeing one line, or if you can even see a line. And I'm going to go to Object, Blend, Blend Options, specify number of steps. Get a more realistic looking blade of grass. Right, something like that. Then I can actually just group everything together as one and convert this to a symbol. Now, if you don't see symbols, it's actually this icon over here, symbols. And then we can go to, or you can go to Window, Symbols, it pops up. And all you have to do is just highlight your little object here, or your path, and choose New. I'll just call it grass. Yes, grass, you know, the British accent. Grass.
Sure. Sure.
Alright, so once you have a blade of grass here, you'll see pop up in your symbols library, which means it's now a symbol. What that means, I can drag out as many of them as I... Oh my goodness, this is wrong. Right, let me highlight everything. Sorry about that. And turn it into a symbol, call it grass. So that's a symbol now. Whoopee. Means I can drag out as many as I want. And because it's a symbol, it enables me to use what is called a symbol sprayer. So over here you have a symbol sprayer which sprays symbols. And I'll show you what that means by that. Yep, I can spray out symbols. And it keeps it like a gradient type of thing. Huh? Actually, you have tools you can edit the path itself. So you actually have shifter, which if some case you want to kind of move some stuff around, you can always just use that to kind of get that like that. Or if there's a case where you want to stain it, sorry, flip them. So I'm staining some of them more, well, it looks like it has the RGB colors again. Jesus. Stain some of them more blue than others, some of them more green than others. And if for any reason you want to change the size, you can always change the size, making some bigger, some smaller, and so on and so forth. And you can also screen some of them, which kind of makes some of them have a different kind of a blend. And you have symbol styler. Let's go to the graphic styles panel first. If you want to stylize your symbols, you can always do that by styling some of them with graphic styles. So that just brings out the symbol thing, and that's how the symbol thing works. Now let's do the 3D part. Should I stop the video here or just continue? Let me just stop here. So this was part 2 of a multiple part program. The other part can be seen again at the same time.